Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Let's go back to our top story now. And Israel's Attorney General is reportedly expected to make an announcement over the corruption cases against Benjamin Netanyahu before the country's snap elections in April. Avichai Mandelblit has been consulting with top judicial officials on whether there are any legal obstacles to announcing a pre-indictment hearing for the Prime Minister in 3 corruption cases before the coming elections in April. The Prime Minister's legal team said such a decision would be a blow to the democratic process because the hearing would not be completed by the time elections are held, casting an unfair cloud over Netanyahu. Well, for more on the story, we welcome to our studio political analyst Matan Rotman. Matan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So talk us through what it means for Benjamin Netanyahu, the latest developments, if he is in fact indicted before April 9th.
Well, I would like to say that this will not change the outcomes. Probably this will not change the outcomes of the election. If you're anti-Netanyahu, you'll say anti-Netanyahu. And if you're pro-Netanyahu, you'll say pro-Netanyahu. So really the question is, why is this happening now? Why the timing? And perhaps the answer is has something to do with Mandelblit being also a political figure. He's the Attorney General of the state. He has a very high-ranked position, and he might want to show that he's doing everything that he can professionally to make the right decision. So this has less to do with the elections per se, but more to do with perhaps Mandelblig's decisions.
And yet Benjamin Netanyahu's legal team saying it's a blow to the democratic process if this actually happens, because he wants to have a chance to have his side of the story. Does he have a point?
Well, yes, he does have a point, legally speaking, but Netanyahu's strategy hasn't changed in the past years. Basically, Netanyahu is saying that anybody that is not significantly right-wing is probably left and therefore is trying to overthrow him. And if an indictment, if charges will be pressed, then most likely he'll use that in the same rhetoric, in the same way, in the same meaning. He will say, no, they're trying to overthrow me, and that is the reason this is happening. But legally speaking, yes, he has a point there, for sure. The public should be able to know about this, but also he has the right to defend himself prior to any accusation.
And then in terms of your sense, therefore, of Likud's power and popularity through all that's happening, the bombshells we've been hearing in the last week since the date was announced, is it really going to make a difference? You seem to think that Netanyahu is staying regardless.
Well, yes, I do think that in Israel, what's the most important thing is the demographic, and the demographic has not changed. And as I've said before, if you are pro-Netanyahu, you'll say pro-Netanyahu. If you're anti-Netanyahu, you say anti-Netanyahu. This will not change. What's important to remember is that if Netanyahu will resign, this will be a precedent, because it will allow people to just press charges against prime ministers in order to overthrow them. And this is a dangerous precedent, I would say. So he would most likely not resign, and the outcomes of the elections will probably not change because of this specific thing.
Political analyst Matan Rotman, thank you so much for your input on this important story.